It'll land in the upper deck in right center field. Breaking 0 for 29 postseason drought for Murray, dating back to the '79 World Series. And as he crosses the plate, it's 3-0 Baltimore. At this point in the fourth, it's 4-1, and Ron Kittle is hit by a pitch from Mike Flanagan. Kittle is incensed, but when you think about it, with a 4-1 lead and Kittle the leadoff batter in the inning, Flanagan undoubtedly did not do it intentionally. Nonetheless, both benches empty. And then retaliation. Dotson flunks Ripken. Ripken views it with disdain. He waves the trainer off, says, that didn't hurt at all. But the very next batter, Eddie Murray, also has a message coming to him. Dotson pitches him tight. Murray issues a challenge. Dotson says, come on if you want to. Both benches empty for the second time. Remigan restraining Murray. And Tony La Russa, the White Sox manager, in the middle of the huddle. Altobelli along with him. The bullpens come on out to see what's happening. Warnings were issued. That was the end of the brushback battle, but not the end of the Baltimore scoring. This John Lowenstein two-bagger produced 2. The Birds go on to win it 11-1. Take a 2-1 lead in the series. The White Sox backs are to the wall today in Chicago. Altobelli is a victory away from a trip to the World Series, but sometimes they are so hard to come by. You remember last year, the Angels led 2-0 and couldn't buy the last one. Dropped the last 3 straight at Milwaukee. Here's the lineup. Shelby, the leadoff man, followed by Landrum, then Ripken at shortstop. Murray with the big home run that set the tone last night. Renicky in left field. He has 3 walks, a double, and a homer in 5 plate appearances. Singled in the veteran DH. Dower is the second baseman. Cruz at third base. Dempsey the catcher. They have not gotten much offense from the bottom of the order, but they've gotten plenty of good defensive play. Britt Burns, Tony.
Burns with an excellent forkball. He came out of spring training this year with a virus in his left shoulder. They were very concerned about him. They kept him in spring training on a rehab program. Good hard curveball. Gets the ball up there in the low 90s. Win a complete reversal from last night's ball game where there was somewhat of a warm southern breeze. Now it is coming directly out of the north, maybe the northeast, out of Lake Michigan. It will hold up any balls hit into the left field wind. Defensively, that's what the White Sox look for. Carlton Fisk behind the plate. Greg Walker is at first base. Ron Kittle on crutches this morning. Don't know if he's available for pinch hitting. Julio Cruz at second. Jerry Brzezinski at shortstop, replacing Fletcher. Vance Law at third base. In left field, Pachark has moved from first to left, replacing Kittle. Center fielder Rudy Law. Harold Baines, who absolutely hit 4 balls right on the nose in last night's ball game, came away empty. He's now 0 for 12, but it's a very unfair one.
Shelby steps in to lead it off. A switch hitter facing Burns. It's a very chilly day. Temperatures probably in the low 50s, and then you throw in the wind. Ball 1. Plate umpire Jim Evans walked out to the mound just before we began and gave Britt Burns permission to blow on his hand while standing astride the rubber. Normally that is not allowed, but on a cold day like today, it will be permitted. 2-0 the count. You mentioned Kittle's circumstance. Tony, last night, the word from the bench was he'd be okay, but the knee swelled up on him overnight. Will not play today, and if the White Sox win, he'd be questionable for tomorrow night.
What Britt Burns is going to have to do, and Coach Fisk is going to have to help him, not do what Bannister did in Baltimore, and last night out here, what Dotson did. Come in overthrowing, not pitching within themselves, and losing the strike zone. This was Kittle. Came in on crutches. The players were introduced earlier, being helped off by Hickey, who's disabled, and Mark Hill. It does not look, with that gimpy leg, like he will be available for pinch hitting at this point.
Count holds at 2-2 on Shelby. 25 years old, from Lexington, Kentucky, and someday the regular center fielder for the Baltimore Orioles. Al Bumbry platooning with him now, but Bumbry is 36 years old. Shelby, an improving hitter, that's not yet his strength. Terrific, fleet, strong-armed outfielder. Law at third base, fair ball. He beat it.
Law waited back on the ball just a shade and then got a little tricky hop to his right. The ball may have gotten stuck in the waving of his glove, and the fastest runner on this Orioles team beats it out. What's the ball? See if you can see it. Scoots a little bit to the right. There it is. Upset his rhythm and timing. Then it got stuck in the glove. The Orioles have got something going early. Good pitch. Should have been an out, but it wasn't.
Walker holding Shelby on. He led the O's with 15 steals. Here's Landrum, the right fielder. And Shelby is a good percentage base stealer. He was only thrown out twice.
What a gap between Julio Cruz, the second baseman, and Walker. Britt Burns not with a good move to first base. He is fairly slow going to home plate. Once in a while he will deceive runners because he looks like he's throwing over to first. Landrum should be trying to hit the right field.
Landrum is hitless in 5 trips in the series so far. Began the year in the minors at Louisville in the Cardinal system. Couldn't make their roster. Dealt to Baltimore at midseason. Shelby easily back. The Cardinals got Floyd Rayford, the third baseman, in the deal.
Seeing the principal reason why baseball games have gotten longer and longer over the last few years especially. So many times to hold base runners, men throwing over.
Strike one call to Landrum.
The stories surrounding Bill Veeck, the former owner who's in here in the ballpark today, about how he has discovered players are interesting, I think, Bob. We heard about Baines, a Little League field. This guy, a book writer named Bob Cromie, was driving through Birmingham, Alabama, sent Veeck a clipping. He had struck out 18 in high school. Bill Veeck made himself a mental note. When Britt Burns got out of high school, he had his scouts go after him.
You saw Burns' record lifetime against the Orioles. This year he didn't have a start against them, just one brief relief appearance.
Burns probably the slowest of the White Sox pitchers as far as getting his thoughts together and gathering his sign.
Landrum shows the bunt but takes a ball, 1-1. Britt Burns was under 500 for the year at 10-11, but closed strong in September. His ERA in the last month was 2.17. He threw 2 September shutouts and had 4 blankings for the year, second best in the American League. The 1-1. 2-1. The man who led the American League in shutouts has added one already in the LCS, Mike Boddicker of the Orioles. He pitched 5 during the regular campaign.
See what happens now. 2-1 count. Landrum with good bat control. Shelby with good speed. See if Altobelli wants to be aggressive right off the bat and start a runner. Nope.
Not going. Landrum bunts, but too hard. Right back to Burns. They get the force.
Landrum a little over anxious. He had Britt Burns in the hole, and he takes the pitch that, we'll see it right now, may have been too high out of the strike zone, a tough one to bunt. He could have afforded and taken it. The decided to bunt at a pitcher's pitch, and he didn't get the runner over. I believe he was trying to push that ball towards second base a little bit more. Burns, some people feel, is somewhat of a non-athlete. He has a great throwing arm, but he can get himself in trouble with his fielding. Not that time.
Cal Ripken Jr. It's hard to believe, as poised as he is, but he has been the youngest player on the field in the first 3 games. The only player younger on either roster is the starting pitcher today for Baltimore, Storm Davis. Ripken just 23. Britt Burns. Ball one high. Burns is 6 feet 5 inches tall. He weighs 218 pounds. Born in Houston, lives now in Birmingham, Alabama.
And we've talked to pitching coach Dave Duncan of the White Sox. Give us a rundown on Britt Burns, today's starter.
Pitching a shutout anytime he walks out on the mound. He's a power pitcher with a new pitch, a fork ball that's added a new dimension to his pitching, giving him an off-speed pitch.
And he is capable of overpowering games. This year, he's had a 1-hitter, a 2-hitter, and a pair of 3-hitters.
He generally does not walk a whole lot. His strikeout to walk ratio is excellent.
1-1 pitch.
That was a fork ball. You can see Ripken swinging at the motion, the ball running away a little bit, but basically it goes down. He throws a hard fork ball and a soft one. That was the softer one. We saw yesterday, if they keep throwing Ripken outside, the power he can generate to the opposite field. There's Murray, who from the right side will be hitting the ball into the wind if he pulls it. Murray rifled that double off the wall right center last night. Ripken.
The 1-2 hit back through the middle. Takes a good carom for Chicago off the mound. Is Walker able to handle it? He is. That ball might have gone through, but it caromed off the side of the mound right to Dybzinski, who caught it in his stride, stepped on the bag, and as you'll see, his throw is low, but Walker is able to block it and complete the double play. The Chicago lineup to face Storm Davis. Rudy Law, who's hitting .538 with a couple of stolen bases. He's 7 for 13. Carlton Fisk struggling at 167, 2 for 12. Harold Baines, 0 for 12 in the series. Greg Luzinski, he's 2 for 10. But Shorrock hasn't done too badly, 3 for 11, but he was 0 for 4 last night. Walker has just 1 plate appearance, didn't get a hit as a pinch hitter in Baltimore. Vance Law is batting .143. Dybzinski hasn't hit yet in the series, and Julio Cruz is at 111. The White Sox have scored 3 runs in the series total, and one of those was unearned.
Storm Davis, 4 good pitches. Fastball, low 90s, it'll rise. He used to have a very good slider until he started working on a cut fastball, and he's lost a little bit of that slider. Good overhand curve, and an awfully good straight change of pace. From the Goodyear blimp. Here's that ending double play. Caroms off the side of the mound. Dybzinski just scrapes the bag. And watch Walker battle this. Short hop on Shelby's ball also earlier. He didn't really stretch out, and Shelby beat it out. Andrew gets down and out of the way. This is the reason why they've had a little trouble finding the position for Greg Walker. He's got a good bat. He battles the ball over at first base, as you see. Well, Cyclone on the mound.
Yeah, they call Jim Palmer, who has won that Cy Young Award many times, kiddingly Cy Old, and they see some similarities between the young Davis and Palmer, and they have nicknamed him Cyclone because he's a clone of Palmer. Boy, they are just ready to roar here in Chicago. Had that sense last night, but the Orioles took the game away from them early.
It's interesting, last night, Davey Nelson told me before the ball game, he's the first base coach, saying, you know, our game plan was to try and fake punts on Flanagan. We knew his knee was bad. Make him come down off the mound. See what we could get. He said, we left the clubhouse. Rudy Law did it the first time up, faked the bunt, and he said, our guys forgot it. He said, they just, and he didn't say the pressure got to him. He said, they just weren't thinking right.
2-0 is the count to Law. Storm Davis pitched the division-clinching victory on September 25th. He beat Milwaukee 5-1.
Todd Cruz up tight at third.
2-1. So the Orioles are hoping, as you look at Cruz, that Davis can repeat the performance. He got them the win that clinched the division. If he can prevail today, he'll clinch the pennant and move on into the World Series against either the Dodgers or the Phillies. Law hits it hard. Dower battles it, recovers, throws him out.
Well, last night, Dower caught a bullet off the bat of Harold Baines, or the ball caught him, maybe more accurately. It'll show you, when you don't have good running speed, Dower's speed been curtailed by some ankle and knee problems. But those charts that are kept so sophisticated, pitcher does what he's supposed to do. Fastball ran it away from Law. He took a short shuffle step to his right, and the ball was right there to knock it down. Boy, this team uses his head out in the field and at the plate. Some younger teams don't.
During the regular season, Fisk wore the Orioles out at 378.
Renicky, Shelby, Landrum in the outfield. A better defensive outfield than when a left-hander's thrown. Todd Cruz, Ripken, Dower, Murray, Dempsey behind the plate again.
A ball and a strike to Pudge Fisk, who had a double last night, his second hit of the series. 289 for the year, 26 homers, 86 RBIs. And the author of one of the great postseason moments, Baines awaiting his turn. That sixth game of the 75 series. The game-winning homer in the 12th. This one fouled right back toward us.
Two catchers have got to be a little bit wary tonight. Last night, Fisk and Dempsey come back out to the ballpark. Start a game a little over 12 hours later where your body can't come back.
Hit through the middle and a base hit. Dower, I don't believe it if he throws him out. He beat it.
Storm Davis had a chance to help himself right there. Ball was hit sharply, but you'll see his follow-through. Look where the glove is. He didn't get the glove up. He just let it lay on his left hip. Dower almost came up with an exceptional play. This experienced ball club, the Orioles, who played in front of so many hostile crowds in the Eastern Division on the road, late August and September, did not let the crowd bother them yesterday nor today. That's why Burns is going to have to hold him in check for a while.
Baines hit 4 balls right on the schnoz last night and came up empty. Fisk at first with 1 out. Strike 1. You can really see the similarity between Davis and Palmer as Davis rocks into his motion. More so from the full windup in the stretch. It's a funny thing about this Baltimore organization. They just seem to come up with a certain kind of player continually through their system. Is Scotty McGregor this year as Dave McNally? Will Davis be the next year as Jim Palmer? McGregor, of course, began in the Yankee chain, but when the Orioles acquired him, he was still a minor league player, and he performed for them in the minor leagues for a couple of years before making it to the big time. 2-1 to Baines. Make it 3-1. 3-1.
The bull on deck. His bat has been somewhat silenced. Fisk not been too authoritative. Baines looking for a hit. First one of this league championship series. It's funny how a guy like Murray, who was 0 for 29 in postseason play, they start saying he may be choking. He hits a home run last night, and all of a sudden they say that guy can really play under pressure.
Hit hard.
5 balls in a row he's hit on the nose, and they double him off.
Double play.
Not good base running by Pudge.
So Baines, continuing to hit in hard luck, lines into a double play. Totals identical after 1.
The inning double play. Storm Davis runs a 2-seam fastball away from Baines, and look at how Eddie Murray reacts to the angle of the bat off the ball. We show it to you again. Took 3-4 steps on a hard hit ball, and you think they're not playing for keeps? Joel Tabelli said there is no ill feeling. Look at Fisk. First he tries to get hit by the ball because he knows he's dead. And now he goes after Murray. Right there.
Eddie Murray has to be hitting the loudest 100 imaginable, because that one hit just turned the atmosphere around completely in the first inning last night. Titanic two-run homer into the upper deck in right center.
Eddie Murray can pull the ball, but he is smart enough, and especially with Burns, if he keeps running the fastball away, goes the forkball. Eddie Murray can change his technique and try and hit the opposite way. There's good power to right center field. You'd have to put Rice and Murray especially as the two hitters. And Cecil Cooper, I guess, maybe might miss one or two of the most dangerous hitters, the ones that pitchers fear most.
This ball hit on the nose and a leadoff single. Machorik will get it back in.
The man who's supposed to be a high ball hitter, see what he did with that sinking fastball or running fastball? He went down and got it. He will adjust. Do not pitch Eddie Murray the same way at bat after at bat. He's going to catch up to you. Look where Fisk sets up. They know he's a high ball hitter basically. Outside part of the plate and down. Murray went after it.
They haven't gotten Renicky out yet. 2 hits and 3 walks, 5 trips. Both hits for extra bases, a double and a homer in game 2.
So Fisk is not going to let his pitchers avoid coming inside, even after last night. Pitched inside, 1 pitch to Murray, and now 1 to Renicky. In fact, when we have time, we have a statement from the league president, Mr. Lee McPhail, that we will read regarding last night's game.
2-0. Well, there were some quotes to the effect that it was intentional when Dotson plunked Ripken, that there was a purpose involved, and so Lee McPhail, the outgoing league president, issued a statement. The count. The gist of the statement simply is they looked into it, they'll continue to do so, they have assurances from both sides it's not going to happen again, and they're not going to say anything officially about it until after the World Series. Murray bluffs a go, and Renicky takes ball 4.
You know, the DH, the silly DH, I should say, has created a stupid kind of mentality. There is always going to be in baseball the semblance of the rule of the jungle. I don't agree with it, headhunting and so forth. In my mind, there was nobody throwing at anybody else intentionally last night, even though Dotson said he was. But a pitcher knows he doesn't have to go up and bat. A hitter doesn't want his pitcher to throw at the opposing hitter. He wants to get back at the pitcher that did it to him. So what does it leave his mentality to do but to go out and charge the pitcher? And it was just so ridiculous. The number of players have been hurt in those kind of altercations in this league more than the National League.
Singleton fouls it away. I would guess there have been nearly as many players who wound up on the disabled list in the fights which followed brushbacks.
That's exactly the point.
As the number that have had to sit down as a result of being hit by a pitch. What happened to Dave Rozema of the Tigers last year? It's taken high, 1-1.
Bill Lee,
clearing brawl, and
Bill Lee, Greg Nettles with his shoulder early in his career. Some say even Rick Burleson, recovering from the rotator cuff, may have re-injured it in altercation.
2 on, nobody out.
Dubzinski had a pickoff on, and Britt Burns missed it. Dubzinski works 2 kinds of pickoff plays like most shortstops do. The daylight play, if you see daylight between me and the runner, throw, and then they've got the count play, and Dubzinski was out of position. And that's no fun with a right-handed hitter up. He left that shortstop hole vacant.
1-2 pitch. Held up, 2-2.
Field to Davy Phillips, the first base umpire. Burns missed with the forkball, a hard forkball. Talking about Burns, and I don't mean to call him a non-athlete, but he has trouble feeling, but as a very, very young boy, He had hip surgery, both hips, corrective surgery. And there are some in the White Sox organization feel it may deter the length of his career, which may put him on the trading block after this season. If he can pitch his way out of this inning, it could be a big shot in the arm for the White Sox offense. As we said that last night, too, when they had a good inning to help out their pitcher.
Rich Dower hit just 174 against the White Sox during the regular season, and his troubles have continued in the playoff.
So the hitter's out of the batter's box, and the home plate umpire is redefining the back line. We saw that in the '80 World Series, Kansas City, Philadelphia, and Bill Kunkel, the home plate umpire, pulled out his tape measure and said, that's as far back as you can go.
Dower fouls it away. We have mentioned before that Baines in right field has a gun for an arm. Rudy Law, by reputation, a weak arm in center. Now, we haven't seen that much of Paciorek in the outfield. What about his throwing arm, Tony?
A little bit better than average. On dirt and grass, you're not going to throw a whole lot out anyway at home plate. Deeply as he's playing. Picked off again this time. Burns steps off. Dybzinski keeps goofing around at second base. And he is cheating so far, or so close to that second base back. There's a gap on the left side. Julio Cruz, the one who should be jockeying around more than he is.
Inside, do they think Dower can't pull Burns?
Depends what they're going to throw. Todd Cruz on deck. They're going to keep running fastballs away. Okay, he's not going to pull Burns. If he slides the ball inside or gets a fork ball in the middle of the plate or in, he can jerk it.
The 1-1. Taken for ball 2. Hit right on the nose, and Paciorek didn't have to move an inch.
You can bet that Dower saw that hole, because he really rolled those with that top hand over. Shark, he was standing right there. Watch Dower. That bat out in front. Fish thought it was not going to stay up. Might be a base hit.
Rough night at the plate for Todd Cruz last night. He struck out 3 times.
He has played a fine third base in this league championship series.
Murray, who singled to start the inning, is at second. Renicky, who followed with a walk, is at first. But Singleton and Dower have been retired, so 2 on with 2 out. Ball 1.
Fisk has got to get Britt Burns' mind off the runner at second base, especially now. With 2 outs, Murray's not going anywhere. The only thing he might be doing, and probably more decoys than anything else, flashing pitches to the hitter.
Dybzinski, the flip to Cruz for the force. So the Orioles lead 2, and at the end of 1.5, we're scoreless. Of Comiskey Park, the Goodyear Blimp Enterprise from Pompano Beach, Florida. And the senior pilot at the controls today is named Patrick Henry, and he's from Parsons, West Virginia. Luzinski faces Davis and takes ball 1. The Bull is 2 for 10 in the series. 1-1.
You wonder if the Bull isn't the guy they picked to pitch around. We've heard Ben and Joe talk about it in the National League Championship Series, Guerrero and Schmidt. There's sometimes when you're forced to pitch to a guy, he might be the man they didn't want to get beat by with their bats. And the Orioles pitching staff is so good, their control is so great, they can keep the ball away from you all day long and prevent you from pulling it. Quite a few empty seats at the upper deck left and right field. What a great curveball. He's got a curveball that rivals, at times, Mike Boddicker, who struck out 14 in Game 2. The game, of course, that they had to have if they're down one coming into this part.
It's interesting, 125 strikeouts led the team. So Boddicker certainly didn't have overwhelming strikeout numbers for the season. And yet he had one game during the regular campaign where he fanned 12 and then 14 the other night.
Pachorik, a veteran hitter, just buckled. He started that curveball about head high.
Another one, but it's low, 1-1. Lizinski was Davis's first strikeout victim.
Here's a slider. It's Rick Dempsey, the catcher, said he lost when he started trying to cut the fastball. He's taking that cut fastball away from him. He'll do it naturally on occasion when it's away from a right-handed hitter.
Cruz can't get it, but Ripken does and throws him out. Tony, can you explain the difference between the slider and the cut fastball?
Cut fastball, basically, some off-center the ball, put finger pressure of your right-hander on the middle finger. We'll show you a replay. Cruz goes well to his left, can't get it. Ripken makes a nice play, sets the right foot, shows his right foot. But basically, it breaks on the same plane as your fastball. It doesn't have much downward action. You see lefty Steve Carlton's slider, when he pours it in on right-hand hitters, it goes down and in. The fastball that is cut, and Galen Cisco teaches it so well up in the off-centers, these four seams.
So it just moves laterally.
In 4 inches, 2 inches, and moves on the same plane from a right-hander in to a left-hander. Not much, well, almost no downward action except for the law of gravity.
2 quick strikes to Walker. One and two. Two balls and 2 strikes. Walker celebrated his 24th birthday on Thursday.
Rick Dempsey has not had the trouble with the young pitchers that Pudge Fisk has. Dempsey's been able to work in the 3 or 4 pitchers the youngsters throw. Look at that curveball, he misses. Much more quickly than Fisk. Davis is throwing straight changes, a couple kinds of fastball, the curve, and a slider. Fisk, with Bannister, Lizinski, and Fisk behind them. Last bat again with Dodson. Fisk just couldn't get a pattern going. He had to stay with 1 pitch to when he could throw for a strike.
Well, he was ahead of Walker 0-2, and then he lost it. Storm Davis, just 21 years old. He was born the day after Christmas in 1961. Perhaps the only man in Comiskey Park today who doesn't remember the playing career of Tony Kubek. Born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida, still lives in nearby Atlantic Beach. Walker at first with 2 out and a strike. Dempsey keeping it in front of him.
Dempsey's conducted a clinic, hasn't he? That ball he pounced on to throw Vance Law at home plate. Game 1. The way he caught Boddicker. I've always liked him. He's been a good thrower. He's always accessible. He's never done much with the bat, but boy, defensively, I think he saved this ball with a lot of runs and working young pitchers.
Got charged with an awfully tough error last night on a wind-blown pop close to the barrier. on the corner.
Interesting, Dempsey was talking about the two that he lost yesterday. When they had a drainage problem in this field a couple of years ago, they had to redo it. When they put the new dugouts in and the lower box seats, there's a tremendous slope. He said, I was running downhill and getting nowhere. He said, I was losing track of my feet. Probably the poorest view of foul in this ballpark is from the dugouts. You can't see anybody unless you're on the top step.
Through the middle, but Ripken is there, and he beats Walker to the bag for the fours.
Bill Infield's been all over the diamond. That little help off the mound.
No runs, no hits, a walk, a man is left. We're scoreless after 2, and we'll be back after these messages from your local stations. Dempsey to lead it off in the Oriole third. We've talked about what a battler he is. Recall a time when Mike Hargrove was going through his usual delaying tactics. Hargrove of the Indians has been nicknamed the human rain delay, or the one-man four-corner offense. First pitch is a strike for the way he steps out of the box and paws around and goes through all kinds of gyrations between pitches. And that irked Dempsey so much that one of the return throws back to the pitcher just happened to clip Hargrove on the bill of his batting helmet on the return, kind of delivering a message. He's a throwback, an old-style player. He'll get the uniform dirty. The 1-1 pitch. Dibzinski got him by plenty.
The man who stabilized this infield has a little chuckle because he made a nice play in the hole, anticipated well, and then dropped the ball as they were throwing it around.
Fletcher had no problems defensively in the first 3 games, but he hadn't hit. And La Russa trying to shake things up. Inserts Dibzinski today.
Now Banslaw will come a little tighter.
Shelby, an infield single his first time. It tipped his bat for strike 1.
Shelby doesn't believe he said it didn't. He thought he had the bat back in time. See if you can pick it up. Ooh, below the bat by about 4 inches. He may have, the home plate umpire, Evans, is saying, no, you did swing at it. I don't think he said he tipped the bat. You didn't get it back fast enough.
1-1. They've turned the lights on at Comiskey Park. It looks like the sun is trying to poke through at the same time.
There's the forkball. Has him way out in front. Britt Burns going to just have to keep on battling out there. Find his rhythm. Get his pitches going, his 3 pitches. And hope the offense can do something. White Sox had a chance to really embarrass the Orioles in that first ball game when the Orioles were confused. They only beat them 2-1. Might have been 8-1 or 9-1.
One-two pitch.
There's the defensive alignment for Shelby. 2 balls and 2 strikes. They don't play him very deeply in center field. Landrum on deck. Dan Ford re-injured his leg, outside part of his right foot. Last game of the season, again in game 1.
Count holds at 2-2. Shelby, who began his career as a shortstop, converted to the outfield. When you look at the Oriole organization, they have a lot of players who play their first full big league seasons around age 25. They don't have that many, except perhaps for a super talent like Ripken, who are rushed to the majors in their early 20s. He takes a called third strike. So often, even players with limited major league experience are accomplished professionals when they arrive in Baltimore.
Appeared to be a slider, a hard breaking ball of some kind. Curveball. Started outside. Shelby gave up on it.
Landrum now tried to bunt for a sacrifice in the first, but Burns fielded it and turned it into a force play at second base. 2-0.
Altobelli, he's my pick for the manager of the year in the American League. And of course, LaRusso's got to be given a lot of consideration what he went through early. Bobby Cox up in Toronto just did a marvelous job with a bullpen that struggled a good part of the year.
Landrum pops it up. Cruz wants it.
Look at the Winn.
Winn playing with it. So it winds up a 1-2-3 third inning. And we're still scoreless as the White Sox come up in the third. Here's the view out in center field. You see the back wall. It used to be 440 feet to dead center field here at Comiskey Park. But then the interior fence was installed, and it's a more manageable 401 now.
For a while, they put the bullpens, they took them out of center field and put them down the left and right field lines before they remodeled the park again. When they took the bullpens out, Wilbur Wood down there, they buried some artifacts down in there, an old glove, a pair of shoes, a couple of other little things. Someday would be resurrected again, but now they've moved the bullpens back.
Dibzinski's first playoff at bat, ball 1 to him. Ripken. Low throw. Murray scoops. Dave Phillips says, yeah, he came up with it. 1 out.
There's so many times great sluggers. Henry Aaron was one who was an exceptional base stealer and base runner. Great throwing arm. Got the ball, but because he had all the home runs, everybody will look at him in history as only having been an offensive player, which is completely untrue with Aaron. Same thing with this guy. He's a big slugger, but he showed what he can do base running last night. Going after foul balls, he just scoops one out. He's very agile.
His manager, Joe Altobelli, who was a minor league first baseman, ball 1 to Cruz, really appreciates the work of Murray. Says he turns the 3-6-3 better than any right-handed first baseman he's ever seen. 1-1. Altobelli made it to the majors only briefly. A career minor leaguer, got up with the Minnesota Twins early 60s, just a few ball games.
If Altobelli were a player right now, like a few others back before all the expansions, there were just 2 8-team leagues, he'd have been a very successful major league player. Well, the quality's somewhat diluted in some areas, and it's not a knock on the modern-day ball player. Julio Cruz just refuses to bunt, doesn't he? He can drag that ball to the right side on occasion or even attempt it and beat it out. He doesn't use his speed at the bat that well.
That's not what Davis wanted to do. Certainly not with Julio Cruz.
He's going to be forced to use it right now. They've got to generate some, get something going. His stolen base percentage is exceptionally high. He led Seattle 5 years in a row in stolen bases, and when you're losing ball games, he didn't have that many chances up there.
In the entire history of baseball, well, there it is. Only one man has a better stolen base percentage than Julio Cruz. That's Kansas City's Willie Wilson. Davey Lopes is right behind Cruz in third place, and Joe Morgan is fourth.
Davis quick to first base. He can cut down his delivery to home, too, eliminate that high kick. Cruz got a lot of things going. Left-handed hitter, except Dempsey, who can really throw.
Cruz has had only 1 hit in the series, but he has walked 3 times. Dempsey ready.
Dempsey, one of those guys, will challenge you. Dare you to go. He's going to pitch out. Rudy Law can't afford to take too many strikes and get in the hole. Give Cruz time. Dempsey and Rudy Law. He swings at a pitch. Dempsey runs it high, and Dempsey's very upset. But that speed became a little bit of an intimidating factor in Game 1 for the White Sox, and they've got to use it. They didn't use it yesterday against Flanagan. There's Rick. He takes pride in his catching game. There are some players who just want to hit.
0-2 pitch now to Law. Off-speed pitch hit to right field. Landrum in pursuit. The wind held it up. He makes the catch. Cruz tags and easily into third. A different day, maybe up against the wall for Rudy Law, Tony.
The wind blowing from the northeast, now almost straight in from center field. It was blowing across left to right. Landrum was playing him very shallow. Landrum makes a nice play because he was playing so shallow because he wanted to have a crack on a base hit in front of him to throw Cruz out at home plate. So he gave ground, but he showed how well he can go back. This ball club needs a clutch hit.
See if this can get it. Ball one. Through the first 3 games of the series, the White Sox are 3 for 23, which is 130, with runners in scoring position. Although the crowd thought it was high.
The point that you mentioned yesterday, Bob, Baines, Kittle, Fisk, Lazinski, just under 400 RBIs during the regular season. They don't have one yet in this, do they?
The 1-1. He popped it up. It's Murray who wants it. It's Murray who has it. And the White Sox third is history. No runs, no hits, but a walk, a stolen base, and an advancing fly ball got Cruz as far as third, but that's where he remained. That youngster just realized that he's up on the scoreboard in center field. It's like his grandpa may be with him. Pointed out, look, that's you up there.
And that's you right there.
It was cruel, but it was kind of fun.
If you like to keep numbers, each pitcher through 3 has thrown 44 pitches, 23 strikes. They've each faced 11 hitters. They've thrown first strike pitches to 6 of the 11 hitters. That will be fed into a computer somewhere. For what purpose, I'm not sure sometimes. Somebody told reliever Tom Bergmeyer of the Oakland A's that, do you realize that the computer shows that on first pitches, hitters hit 380 off you? And he said, what do you want me to do, throw a ball on the first pitch? Can get very silly.
A ball and a strike to Ripken.
White Sox pitchers have not backed off. One thing when Fisk came here with the young pitchers, he insisted they throw inside so that the hitters could not control the outside part of the plate. He said, you've got to use both edges of the plate. It's a good brush back right there.
1-2. It's the heart of the order for Baltimore here in the 4th. Scoreless game. Murray and Renicky will follow Ripken. Had him out in front and fans him. That's the 3rd strikeout for Britt Burns.
Since Duncan keeping the charts, since Burns allowed the first 2 runners to get on in the 2nd inning, he has now set down 3, 6, 7 in a row. So when he pitched out of that jam, the 2nd, a single to Murray and a walk to Renicky, he struck out Singleton, and he's been getting a little bit stronger. might recall Britt Burns in '81 when his father was so tragically struck by a car. He was going between starts. Even his All-Star game performance, the side of his dad, who sadly died.
On the check swing, it's going to be Cruz to throw Murray out.
Well, Julio might get Murray a little bit upset there because he held the ball to make Murray run. But they're upset anyway, so it really doesn't matter. But Britt Burns was the first to admit that his concentration was not the same last year. He was really out of it because he had such a wearing '81 season. Watch Julio. He's got Murray running. You can see out of the corner of his eye, he peeked at him and said, okay, if you're not going to hustle down, I'm going to try to embarrass you. Murray couldn't get a jump out of the box because of the check swing.
Renicky has 4 walks and 2 hits in the series. Takes a ball. The way the wind is blowing here today, a ball would have to be crushed to get out of here.
The one he hit in Baltimore would get out of here tonight because it was a low-line drive.
And that was against a bit of a wind. 1-1.
I think I said get out of here tonight. I didn't leave the ballpark. I just stayed right out here last night. No.
That kind of dedication is why I admire you so. 1-2.
His fastball has gotten a lot crisper, and it's gotten crisper for a reason. Pudge Fisk has mixed in that forkball, maybe 5, 6, and showing it to them, put it on the hitter's mind. There was the forkball. He was a 2-pitch pitcher when he first came up, Britt Burns, and it was a rapid rise through the White Sox system. But just a little time in the Midwest League in Appleton. That's an A classification league.
The 2-2 pitch. Full count to Renicky.
Burns has used the brush back pitch very well today.
Another walk for Renicky. His 5th of the series. Tony La Russa's demeanor is normally very calm. Has handled a lot of adversity in Chicago, but he has a temper that will flare occasionally. Maybe he uses it purposely at certain times, but he has thrown some of the all-time great tantrums on the field. He had the one against Baltimore in August here when an apparent Fisk homer was disallowed and ruled a double. He uprooted third base and threw it toward the stands. Dybzinski takes the slow roller from Singleton, who doesn't run well, and throws him out easily. So the White Sox come up in the 4th inning, trying to snap a scoreless tie, and they'll have Baines, Luzinski, and Pechorek to try it.
Was creating a very thorough organization here. The day before Game 1 in Baltimore, after batting practice, short center field, the man number 6, Charlie Lau, with all of the hitters, this one especially, telling what the scouting reports show, what the game plan hitting-wise would be against Orioles pitchers. The 2-men in civilian clothes, 2 scouts, Bart Johnson, a former pitcher who's followed Orioles for about a month, and Dwayne Schaefer, another scout. He's crushed 5 in a row. Here's another one.
Make it 6 with Renicky in pursuit. He dives.
Can you believe that?
Oh, what a catch. 6 bullets off the bat of Harold Baines last night and today.
6 in a row. The unfortunate part is that someone who probably hasn't seen a Major League ball game all year long will write or say that Baines choked in the clutch. God. He can't catch it back. That is an outstanding play by Renicky because the ball is sinking, slicing away from him. When the record comes out after this series, we don't know how it's going to happen. The championship series, he'll have an O for whatever behind his name, at least at this point. And that's very unfair.
Off-speed pitch misses to Luzinski. People who follow the Baltimore Orioles tell us what an underrated outfielder Roenicke is. Pop foul. Murray going over by the railing, but it's well out of play. There's talk, because of his bat and the problems that Todd Cruz has had offensively, of making Roenicke into a third baseman next year, playing him against all kinds of pitching. But he is a definite asset in left field.
Good thought, but then you got to pose the next question: what did they do in left field? They create a problem out there that they have had such great production.
Off the fists and a foul pop. Dempsey battles the wind to take it. Well, I guess they'd use Lowenstein still
And
against
find a
right-handers.
right-handed hitter.
Find a right-handed bat.
So do you create you may eliminate a problem. Lazinski gets jammed. They've thrown the ball in his fist very well. Dempsey fights the wind. You may create a defensive problem at third base if Roenicke can't handle it. And he still hasn't proven, although I think he would, if playing all the time, that he can hit right-handed pitchers consistently. And then you may create a problem in left field, as we said. So see what happens in the trade market, the free agency.
Big breaking ball for a strike to Paciorek. 2 outs, nobody aboard. Last half of the 4th, scoreless game. Burns dueling Davis, and Baltimore in front 2-1 in the series. Popped up. Murray is going to have to go back, and in foul ground, he stumbles a bit, and the wind just took it away from him. It's a ball which started out like Murray would have a definite crack at it. It's blown out of play.
Surprised, as gusty as it is, that the blimp was up today. Last night, I don't think it was up because the wind seemed to be a severe wind problem. You're right, Eddie. It sure has changed since last night. That ball would have blown back to you. So Paciorek gets another crack. Jim Palmer begins to throw. He was the base runner last night who became the designated hitter. Altobelli saving a hitter. Will he be in Baltimore next year?
Oh-2 pitch. Misses. Well, Davis struggled just a little bit toward the end of the season, and he had a problem with his shoulder and neck. And Palmer threw 7 innings of 2-hit ball against the Yankees a week ago Friday. Fouled off by Paciorek, and that sparked speculation that it would be Palmer and not Davis to start this 4th game. But Altobelli stuck with the youngster, and Palmer publicly said the decision was right. These other guys have pitched so well, and I haven't pitched well enough to deserve it. Paciorek loops it into left, but Roenicke will not get there. Two-out single.
Davis changed speeds. Had Paciorek fooled. The change of speeds up high that he just threw, not as effective. If that ball's down low, the check swing, it's a ground ball. He hasn't made many mistakes today, has he? Not that that's a mistake.
Davis has never been involved in a decision against Chicago in his brief career, but he has pitched well against them. In 11 innings of work this year, his earned run average was under 2 against the White Sox, but no wins or losses. Ball 1 to Walker. This young man is a Georgian native. Put some very impressive numbers on the board in the minor leagues. One and one. And a strike. Davis, in his 2nd year in the major leagues, until the September recalls when a lot of youngsters came up at the end of the year, he was the youngest player in the entire league.
See how disciplined Walker can be. He's ahead in the count. He should be looking for something inside he can jerk. One thing that the Orioles pitchers learned very early, in a situation like this, they can pull the string. Hitters still sit up there setting on fastballs. Kept it away, ran a fastball away. Greg Walker and Ron Kittle were roommates in Edmonton last year, where they got to befriend the great one, Wayne Gretzky. Edmonton Oilers. Gretzky shows up whenever he's around, especially up in Toronto, to see these two guys. He's a baseball fan.
In fact, early this year, when the Edmonton club was in to play the Blackhawks in the playoffs, Gretzky came over to Comiskey Park and presented Ron Kittle with his trophy for being named the Sporting News Minor League Player of the Year in 1982. Fouled off again. Manslaw, hoping that Walker will give him a crack at it. Paciorek is at first with 2 outs, last half of the 4th.
Just 4 base hits in the ball game. Each team has 2.
That one slipped on Davis. 3-2.
All singles today, and last night's game, first 6 hits the Orioles had, 5 were for extra bases. Murray's 3-run home run, of course, the big one. Murray behind the runner.
Struck him out.
Ball. Gow. Staff is something. Curveball and a real snapper.
For Davis, his second strikeout. It ends the 4th, and we'll be right back after these messages from your local stations. The blimp hovering over the ballpark at 35th and Shields. Comiskey Park, oldest of the majors. First played ball here in 1910. Coming up after our game here, Sports World, which features the middleweight fight between John Collins and number 2 ranked Tony Simpson from Atlantic City. And then later tonight, of course, the Phillies and the Dodgers. And if there's going to be a rematch of the 1959 World Series, both the White Sox and the Dodgers will have to rally from 2-1 deficits. Dower. He lined hard to Paciorek in left field in the 2nd inning.
White Sox have been an absolutely fantastic ball club late in the season. At home, they've won 19 of their last 21 ball games in this park. Includes the one played last night that they lost.
Sun is shining now, but with the wind, it's still a chilly day at Comiskey.
See if any of the people on the left side forgot their sunglasses in case there's a pop-up.
Law. Got him.
This spot, third base, has seen some exceptional plays. Manslaw and Todd Cruz. Still a little trouble with his shoulder. Manslaw jammed it diving in practice earlier, practicing diving for balls. It's not so important, the change-ups that the Orioles staff throws. Slider down into right-handers. Third baseman's got to know what's coming.
Strike 1. Todd Cruz is just 27 years old, but this is his 6th big league club. He's been with Philadelphia, Kansas City, California, the White Sox, and Seattle before arriving in Baltimore. 0-2 as he swung at a bad pitch.
That's been his problem. It hasn't been his throwing arm or his agility at either short or third base. In the back. Yet he still shows traces. He'll go on a streak, not very long ones, where he can really power the baseball. He's a strong guy.
You know what I think happened to him? Playing at the Kingdome, where even the lightest hitting infielders can, if they play a full season, hit 15 home runs because the ball just jumps out of there. I think he fell in love with the long ball. He strikes out. Fisk will have to throw him out at first base. And he lengthened his swing so much that it really took many points off his average. So he hits 10 or 12 homers a year, but he bats 200. And that's what they're trying to get him to stop doing with Baltimore, to shorten up the swing and hit for the average. Dempsey with 2 out and nobody on. Takes a strike.
Burns now with 4 strikeouts. He has walked 2.
And he's ahead of Dempsey, 0-2.
Bob, no matter what happens to the White Sox in this thing, if they should lose today, this should be a great learning experience for their young pitching staff. And that's one thing that Davey Nelson and Lewis were talking about this morning. So we've had a good year. We started slowly. And that no matter what happens, we're going to take the positive things out of this series and have the players take it home with them if we should lose.
Dempsey has himself a base hit. So a soft single for Dempsey with 2 out. We go back to the top of the order to pick up Shelby.
I think the White Sox faced as much pressure the first month of the season as they are feeling right now, because of all the problem areas they have. Came out of spring training, Ron LaFleur, who they thought might be the starting center fielder, was for a while, and Law replaced him last season. Bruce had to decide whether he's going to keep him or not. They had the problem on the left side of the diamond. Lost Jim Kern. He's going to be their stopper in the bullpen.
Did a very classy thing with Kern. He's been out virtually the entire season at home in Texas. And when they got into the playoffs, they said, hey, we want you to come here. We'll pay your expenses. You be with us. You're part of the team.
He said before the ball game he's going to start throwing maybe December 1st, lightly. Severe elbow problems.
1-1 to Shelby.
Belly's job wasn't easy either. 3 of his big 4, reported 4, didn't produce. Martinez struggled all year long. Palmer disabled list. Flanagan disabled list. Tippy Martinez disabled list. Had to bring up 4 pitchers from the Rochester Farm Club for emergency starting duties, and they all produced. He also had Belly that problem at third. They started Leo Hernandez. Why would he be worrying about Rick Dempsey?
Just what I was about to ask you.
2 outs, 1-1.
And it's popped up on the infield. Walker in foul ground along with Fisk. And it's Fisk who takes it. So for the Orioles in the top half of the 5th, no runs, a hit, and a man is left. The scoreless duel continues with the bottom of the order. Moving to the last half of inning number 5. True, Britt? Well, it's been true so far. Locked in a scoreless duel with Davis. That's up on the screen in the scoreboard in center field. One of their 2 mascots, Ribby and Rhubarb.
This game's right where it should be, in the hands of the pitchers. Where it's been, both league championship series for the most part.
Ball 1 to Vance Law. What would Charles Comiskey say if he saw strange furry creatures running around as mascots? When this ballpark was built, Comiskey sent the architect, Zachary Taylor Davis, along with his ace pitcher in the early 1900s, Big Ed Walsh, on a tour of big league parks to pick out the best features of each. Obviously, as a pitcher, Walsh thought the number 1 feature should be distant outfield fences. So at first, the center field wall was 440 feet from home plate, since shortened, as we've noted earlier. 401 now.
Both pitchers and catchers mixing them up very well. The hitters are up there, don't know what's going to come on the first pitch.
1-2. Cruz. High throw, but Murray is able to handle it. there's been only one serious threat in the game for either team. That came in the Baltimore second, which Murray led off with a single and Redicky followed with a walk, so they had 2 on with nobody out. But Burns fan Singleton got Doward a line out, although the ball was hit very hard to Pechoric and left, and then retired Todd Cruz on a ground out. Dibzinski smacks it foul.
Davis has faced just 16 hitters for 4 1/3.
Right at Ripken. 2 gone.
It's interesting the way you said that, and it's valid. But you see, right at Ripken, but he gets over in front of balls so quickly. His instinct is such that the ball, the angle of the ball off the bat, he had taken 3 steps, and the ball was hit sharply, and he was in front of it. But it wasn't like it was hit right at him. And that's just coordinating defensive charts, pitching, playing the hitter, playing your pitcher, playing the situation, the count. Orioles do it.
Cruz finds the hole with it.
Well, we're going to see him, I think, going a little earlier than he did the last time. He would like to get to second base. Obviously, he would like to be there with less than 2 outs, but now they need another clutch base hit. Let's see what happens.
We talked about the Orioles as this one will split Dower and Murray, about them coordinating their defense. Don Sutton made that point to us before the series. He said, with this Oriole defense, you'll see very few or comparatively few spectacular plays, but they're effective because their scouting reports are so good. The players are always in position. The pitchers are consistent, so the defensive players can afford to lean in one direction or the other because they know the pitch is going to be where the catcher is going for it.
The total is better than the sum of the parts. Individually, you say, hey, boy, collectively, offensively and defensively, they do just wonderful things. See if Law will give him a chance again. Or will he jump on a fastball?
Not going on the first one. It's high.
The legacy of Earl Weaver is still with this Orioles ball club. Some of the players may have said they didn't care for Earl. I think deep down, Earl tried to stay aloof from his players. He man is like Vince Lombardi coached. With his head, not his heart. Didn't let emotions get involved. That's why he was disliked at times.
Again, not going 2-0. What was the Rich Dower quote? He said, Earl taught us how to win. Now Joe Altobelli lets us win.
Jimmy Williams, he's the man to Altobelli's right who moves the defense. After a man with a walkie-talkie.
He's gone.
He may go to third. Nope, he didn't find the ball.
He dove into second, not realizing, and if he had stayed on his feet, he probably would have had a crack at third base.
One thing that a lot of base stealers have taught. Joe Morgan won. Maury Wills, the great ones. Brock, Ricky Henderson. They teach in the minor leagues at times, which is valid for a lot of people. This ball just gets away. Dempsey trying to get it, may have sailed in and off the webbing. Some say pick up the ball in case it's hit. But the great base stealers, they focus in a straight line on that base. That's their destination.
It's not a wild pitch or pass ball because Cruz was running on the pitch, so he gets credit for the stolen base. It's a strike, 3-1. These people are just desperate for an excuse to cheer. If the White Sox can give them one, the place will erupt. Full count. Center field, and Shelby has to come in as the wind is blowing it away from him when he gets there.
That drops in front of Bumbry, I think.
In the last half of the fifth, as we look at it again, no runs, a hit, a stolen base, a man left. We're scoreless after 5 at Comiskey Park. Bob Costas and Tony Kubek back at Comiskey Park, top half of the 6th inning. Tito Landrum, Cal Ripken Jr., and Eddie Murray will bat for Baltimore.
Two pitchers, young, pitching like they've been around for 10, 12 years. A classic pitchers duel. They've each faced 19 hitters through 5.
Landrum 0 for 7 in the series, takes ball 1.
Each pitcher, Davis and Burns, have allowed 3 base hits.
1-1. If there's a 5th game tomorrow night, Lamar Hoyt against Scott McGregor. First game rematch. Landrum twisted away, but it was called a strike, 1-2.
Bob, this is one of those games. Ordinarily, in a close ball game like this, managers wait till the 7th, 8th, or 9th inning to put their men on the corners, third and first base on the line. But the way they're pitching, they should even do it earlier. Law and Walker are not yet on the lines to prevent the double. They should be thinking about it.
Backhanded by Dybzinski, but no chance because Landrum is so fast. So Tito has his first hit and a threat to run as he's on with a leadoff single. But the question is, do you want to take the bat out of the hands of a Ripken or a Murray who follows it?
I wonder if Vance Law had on his mind trying to protect the line a little bit, giving ground to his left. Dybzinski was playing up the middle for Landrum, who's not a strict pull hitter. And they left the hole.
Foul back, strike 1.
There's some number 3 hitters in both leagues who would be asked to sacrifice in this situation. Of course, not with Murray behind him, but neither Murray nor Ripken even have a sacrifice attempt this season.
On the last weekend of the regular season in 1982, we were in Baltimore, and we saw a matchup between the rookie Ripken and last year's MVP Young. Pair of shortstops, distinctive shortstops, that'll probably be compared to each other for the next several years. Tall, rangy, very good defensively, and uncommonly good hitters for shortstops. And Ripken may indeed follow Young as the American League MVP. 0-2.
Keeps putting down the sign to move the hitters off the plate. They've done it on the first pitch a time or two. They get ahead, they move them off. Mudge really has Burns in the ball game to protect that bread and butter pitch for the pitcher. Down and away. He's not letting the hitters lean over the plate.
A 1-2. 2-2.
Ripken Sr. flashing an awful lot of signs in this situation. Ripken hit in, I guess, just a little over 22 double plays this season, a little over 20.
Landrum back easily.
That might have been Fisk who said, find out something. See if we can read the runner. He's going. Throw over. Now Fisk looking into the dugout, see if LaRussa or Duncan, who does it also, want to call a pitch out or have him throw over again.
High, and it's a full count.
Still interesting to see what happens on this call. Melt the belly. Start the runner. If he stole successfully and Ripken struck out, you take the bat out of Murray's hand. If you start him, the quandary you're in, you move an infielder. I think he's home.
Oh, had him leaning, but he got back.
Man with a little quicker move would have had him. On that pitch, he may have been going. Let's see now, Beltabelli alters his thinking. Watch Landrum. Yeah, he was gone. A little shorter lead this time.
Going again and foul back. Ripken struck out his last time and grounded into a double play in the first.
During the regular season, Ripken struck out 97 times. Of course, he had about over 700 plate appearances.
There's another angle on the play a moment ago where Landrum barely got back. Again, it's taken for ball 4. And that pitch didn't miss by much.
It sure didn't. Punch Fisk. Didn't think he got a quick enough call. He thought it was a strike. Jim Evans obviously called it a ball, and Burns is in the same kind of trouble as he was back in the second when there were men on first and second with nobody out and he pitched out of it. Fisk still talking with the home plate umpire Evans.
It was a wonderful shot by our people in the truck, cameramen down on the field. The eyes of Tito Landrum studying Britt Burns intently, waiting for him to make his move toward the plate, which would be his signal to take off. This is the second time that the Orioles have had men at first and second with nobody out. The first was in the second inning, and Burns wriggled out of it.
Time. Got more so in Burns than any of the other pitchers. Oh my. He had a fastball that he could get his arms out that he just barely fouled back. Salome Barojas begins to throw for the White Sox. Starting to sound like Dick Enberg when I keep saying, oh my. And that's a compliment, Dick. The 0-1. 1-1. I guess every great announcer has his trademark. Mel Allen was how about that, or going, gone. With Dick Enberg, oh my. A little bit of a gap in left center field for Murray.
1-1 pitch. Ooh, it got the corner. Murray's disagreement is obvious.
We're giving the left field foul line to Murray. Show the last pitch. He's up pretty close to the plate, Murray, with that open stance. I think LaRussa wanted to pitch that walk Ripken.
Holds 1-2 with 2 on and nobody out.
Burns is not trying location at all now, especially on that 1-1 pitch. He's just throwing as hard as he can and saying, here, hit it. Murray's had 2 good rips. 2 fastballs, middle of the plate, a little bit out over the plate. And those 2 swings, Burns won.
Landrum at second, Ripken at first. Struck him out. that's the 5th strikeout for Nancy's boy.
Got a little ways to go yet. He started out, as you said, in the second. The single by Murray walked to Renicky. Then he struck out Singleton, got Dower and Cruz. Through Renicky and Singleton now. After 3 fastballs in a row, he dropped the forkball off the table.
Ball 1 to Renicky, who has walked 5 times, doubled and homered in 7 series plate appearances.
No matter what happens to Burns in this inning, there's Singleton on deck. It's going to take a little bit out of Britt Burns, the pitcher, as the second inning did, which is what a patient ball club does to a pitcher. Burns is strong. He's a big guy. When you've got a patient ball club like Baltimore, they make you pitch. They don't go after too many pitches on the corners. They make you throw strikes. They're the pressure cooker on the mound most of the time.
Ball for strike 1, 1-1.
Forkball, it had a little bit of the action of a screwball, which it'll do times. Saw it with Boddicker.
Here's Vance Law. He gets the force. Cruz turns it. Oh, my.
We're going to show you right here what Julio Cruz has meant to this team. First and second, Ripken has got to get a good jump, and he did. The ball was not hit that hard to Vance Law, and Cruz somehow turned it.
Well, so far, the Orioles have run that risk pretty successfully against Carlton Fisk and the other big guns for the White Sox. It was truly remarkable, considering how slowly that ball was hit by Renicky, that they were able to turn it, and how much Cruz got on the throw as he went up in the air to avoid the sliding Ripken. So Davis thought he might have some runs to work with.
Cool day. Davis sat on the bench for a long time. He's had that neck problem Bob told you about.
Fisk swings on the first one, pops it up. Dempsey coming back on the screen. It's a good idea today, even on balls which you think are out of play, to come right on back, just in case. Davis has made threatened in the top of the 6th. We're still scoreless. Chopped, but foul.
Ooh, that was close. It hit foul past the bag. Baines on deck. For 6 consecutive times, including last night, first 2 at-bats today, has hit the ball very hard. Not where it's hit in foul territory, it's where it crosses the bag. Jimmy Leland did not argue at all, the third base coach, so he agreed with the third base umpire. Oriole pitchers are very stingy in allowing hitters to turn on the ball. Even when they're behind the count, they seem to be able to keep the ball away or change speeds.
Still 0-2 to Fisk.
I've been watching Davis. After that last pitch, I think he hurt himself. He extended himself and threw a fastball, then he shook his arm. I don't know if it's the neck, stiffness, or what, but he walked back to the mound, walked off the mound, and got a couple of extra breaths. We'll have to watch him.
Chance for Cruz. One out.
Pitch before this last one, we'll show you what happens to Davis. Now he just straightened out that shirt. That was the last pitch.
On a cold day in Chicago, Storm Davis working in short sleeves without a sweatshirt.
They may know something, or he may have said something, because they've started their bullpen. The Orioles.
Harold Baines now 0 for 14 in the series, and yet it's doubtful that anybody has hit more balls hard. There's another one, and his bad luck finally ends. Luzinski now. He's fouled out and struck out. 0-1.
Baines, a good base runner. Not much of a base stealer. Just 7 this year, but caught 5 times in the regular season. Dennis Martinez begins to throw. He's had an off year. Taken out of the starting rotation. Jammed them again. They've made more good pitches to the bull than I think any other hitter. Of course, they've made a lot of good pitches. Both staffs. They busted him on the fist. If he tries to open up, they seem to sense it. They go away. He can't seem to guess right, get his pitch. They won't let him.
The 1-1. He pops it up. Dempsey off with the mask. Near the railing, he has it. I say this is a good spot to run Baines now. What do you think, Tony?
No. I don't want to take the bat out of this guy's hand, but we'll see.
Well, a couple of reasons.
Baines on a long base hit could score from first base. But the Orioles know it also, so their defensive outfield is playing very deep. They'll concede a single, but they're going to keep the gappers down if they can. The one hole is if he lets them pull the ball down the left field line.
The ball is popped into shallow left center. Ripken is going back, and he gets there. Now, I was thinking, the White Sox have had so much trouble generating offense in general, and with the wind blowing in, the odds are against the long ball. I thought they might have something going, but Pachorich swung on the first pitch and popped it up, and we'll be right back after these messages from your local stations. The top half of the 7th. The view from the air down onto Comiskey Park. Singleton is the leadoff man for Baltimore. He'll be followed by Dower and Todd Cruz.
I'll tell you, the mental fatigue on these two pitchers has got to be extreme. They may wear out mentally before they wear out physically.
Burns bounces one for ball 1.
Burns twice has had runners on first and second. Nobody out. He's pitched out of it both times.
Had some great shots from up above in Baltimore, especially on those bunt plays. Entire infield moving. Show you how the defense adjusts in various situations. 2-0. Our producer is Ken Edmondson. Our director is John Gonzalez. They've done a fine job throughout the series.
Over 162, you've got to be a very resilient team. The Orioles had 2 7-game losing streaks. They bounced back after a poor first game performance to win 2. White Sox played poorly last night. They bounced back thus far in this game. Law at third, right on the line. There's Vance Law taking away the double. He didn't last inning, not quite as extremely. Walker, the right-hander, not quite as close. The left-hander comes up, he'll be right on the line.
He walked him.
Fourth time in this ball game that the first hitter has gotten on for the Orioles, and now for Singleton there will be a pinch runner. A hit-and-run man at the plate in Dower, a good bunter in Dower, so Bunbury will go into pinch run. He will become the designated hitter also. Next time around, he can be pinch hit for, of course. That man could become the designated hitter if they go to a left-hander.
So Bunbury, once among the fastest men in the league, and he can still motor pretty well, although not like in his prime. He runs for Singleton.
Vance Law still on the line, looking for a butt. Let's see.
Dower is a good bunter. He gets this one down. The play will have to be at first. Walker falls down, but gets it to Cruz.
Well, it's interesting because there are games in the course of the season where Squires would be in there now at this time, except that Walker will lead off the seventh. If they had had a one-run lead, the White Sox, Squires would be there for his defense. It's almost messed up when the legs go out. But the Orioles got the runner where they want him in Bunbury at second base.
There's Greg Walker, the first baseman. Todd Cruz is grounded out and struck out.
See what happened with Altobelli here. With just one extra infielder, Sakata. If he had two, as La Russa does, Cruz would not be hitting right now. You have a pinch hitter because he'd have that extra infielder. He can't afford to do it at this stage. He could, but he might end up with what he had against Toronto. Got guys playing all over out of position.
Strike one.
Law playing shallow in center field for Cruz. So we can get a shot if there's a base hit that way.
A ball and a strike. Dempsey had a hit his last time. He waits for his chance. Foul ball, 1-2.
Bunbury at second has been getting a very good lead. Julio Cruz and Dudzinski, the middle infielders, not able to hold him too close at this point. They jockey back and forth, but Bunbury's not really worrying about him. Each team has 4 hits. Been pretty much a perfectly played game, hasn't it? Pitchers have pitched out of trouble, especially Burns. Fielding plays, excellent.
Cruz just 2 for 13 overall in the series. Goes down swinging. The 6th strikeout for Burns, and the second time he's gotten Cruz.
You've got the same problem right here. Even though it's a lefty-righty matchup for Dempsey, 2 catchers, Joe Nolan and Dempsey. Sakata could catch in a pinch. He hasn't done it very often. Once this season. Like once in his Major League career.
Two outs now with Bunbury aboard at second, and strike one to Dempsey.
Fisk, primarily when Burns has been in trouble, has gotten ahead with that fastball. We haven't seen much of the curveball or little slider, and then he gets the hitter sitting on the fastball after he gets ahead, and he might throw that forkball, which has been effective.
The 0-1. 1-1. Dempsey during the regular year hit .231. He had 4 homers and drove in just 32 runs. 34 years old. Was part of a deal involving several players, McGregor among them, between the Yankees and the Orioles in the mid-70s. Did he go? No, says the first base umpire Dave Phillips, has played up Jim Evans' check with him.
He still has his good fastball. That one just ran out of the strike zone. He overthrew it. Let's see how patient Dempsey is now. Ahead in the count, 2-1.
Off-speed pitch, swung on and missed. Two and two with Bumbry at second and 2 outs. Scoreless game, top of the 7th.
And the infielders are playing very deep to knock anything down. They don't want that ball to get out to the outfield.
In the air to shallow center field. It's Rudy Law, and it's still scoreless. It's 7th inning stretch time at Comiskey Park. Greg Walker in the last half of the 7th to face Storm Davis. No runs, 4 hits, no errors for each club. Ball 1.
Pitching coach Ray Miller will be watching Davis very, very carefully. They've already got their bullpen up.
You think this might be Walker's last at-bat, Tony?
Yes. And if he should get out, there's Ray Miller. Storm Davis has done everything that George Bamberger, who preceded this man, Miller wants. There's Tippy Martinez if he gets in trouble.
2-1.
All the Orioles ask their pitchers, and everybody does, but they remind their pitchers, just keep us in the ball game. Stay away from big innings. You walk somebody, and he's walked just 2. You might start a big inning. 3 years out of high school. Amazing composure for this guy.
Three balls and a strike.
It surprised me one bit if he loses him, and we see a pinch runner. If he does, and we see a trip to the mound, and maybe even then a change of pitchers. If he's hurt.
It's a base hit. Ripken had him played over by second base and couldn't get back in time.
Here comes the pinch runner, and the man will be his defensive replacement, Mike Squires. So Walker starts it off for the White Sox. Vance Law, good punter.
Aldebelli with Ray Miller as pitching coach. So Squires now runs for Walker, who did his job with the leadoff single. And in Squires, they'll have a Gold Glove quality first baseman when they go back to the field.
Now it's Aldebelli coming out, so we'll find out if he's going to make the change. See that? You read lips? He talked to Storm Davis. He turned to Dempsey. He said, a change should be made, I think, don't you? And Dempsey nodded his head. So Altobelli did not have a clear-cut idea what he's going to do. He wanted to talk to Davis, and then he referred it also to Rick Dempsey. Here comes Tippy.
So with Davis leaving and Martinez entering, we'll be returning right after this. Those have been, over the past few years, the two strange rallying cries of this team. The "Na-na, hey, hey, goodbye" song is what they sing to sarcastically put the opposition down, and "winning ugly" has been the battle cry ever since the Texas manager, Doug Rader, said they win a lot of ugly games and they can't win the pennant that way. Well, they've come this far.
Storm Davis leaves it in the hands of one of the best left-handed short relievers in the game. Two pretty good ones, and that is an understatement in the League Championship Series. Al Holland of the Phillies, who was so brilliant in the early games. Holland was kind of lost. And the Ballon Minton in San Francisco. This man, Tippy Martinez, was lost for a while in the Yankee organization. Now he's become the true stopper on this Baltimore Orioles staff. He's a good fielder. It's a great curveball, sneaky fastball, and he can bounce off the mound. So when Cruz charges and Murray charges, Tippy will cover a lot of ground. Dempsey will control the plan of sacrifice, telling Martinez if he gets the ball where to go. Place to try and bunt, probably Murray, the left-handed pitcher on the mound. He's got to hold the runner, see if they want the play.
First, they'll chase Squires back.
Tippy doesn't have a great move. You might see Eddie Murray decoy like he's going in for a bunt, try and trap the runner, come back and try and pick him off. Davey Nelson, the coach, is aware of it.
Takes ball one.
Now let's see if they've got something set up between Tippy Martinez and Murray.
Reading Leland's signs. We're in the last half of the seventh, no score. The White Sox need a win to push it to a deciding game tomorrow night. Baltimore needs a win to go to the World Series.
Yep, there it was. Tried to deke him, didn't fall for it. But if nothing else, that will keep Squires a step or two closer and give him a better shot to force him at second base. They put a thought in his mind.
He's going, and it's a hit-and-run base hit. Squires is around second, but he's going to hold there as Renicky comes up with it.
In game one, we talked about putting the threat of a stolen base or the threat of speed. Todd Cruz playing in close at third, starting to charge. Murray charging. 1-0 count. Marusa very, very brazenly puts on the switch. He's got to have 2 wins. Something finally works for the White Sox.
Other managers say of Marusa that he's tough to predict. He'll do things on different counts. He'll switch things around as a good manager has to do. Took the bunt off, went with a hit and run. First and second, nobody out.
Jenski led the club in sacrifices during the season. He had 11. Look out. Ooh. Almost trapped off second base. There's Squires. Tough play for a runner when you bunt through the ball. You want to get a good jump so they can't force you. He almost got hung up.
Pitch was ruled a ball. They say he pulled the bat back in time. Scoreboard originally had put a strike up. Julio Cruz is on deck. He squares. But it's taken for ball 2, 2-0.
That time, the Orioles defense counting on Tippy Martinez and Cruz to cover the entire infield on the bunt. Murray stayed at first. Dower went to second. Ripken went to third. They did not leave a base unoccupied. Nick Rodriguez is looking out there one more time. I think they caught on to his tricks after game one. With Tippy Martinez on the mound, you can charge just two people, him and either the third or first baseman, because he is so cat-like. Murray giving the signs while this is going on. Dubzinski requests time. He's already thrown a runner out in third in this series in the same situation on a bunt.
Pick off and almost threw it away. Dower had to reach back to grab it. It was in game one that Martinez pounced on a bunt and threw Scott Fletcher out at third on a disputed call, but whether he was safe or not, it was still an indication of how quick Martinez is, how well he fields bunts. Did not show the bunt, and he took ball three. They're a pitch away from having them loaded with nobody out.
And if that happens, LaRussa will have to make a decision. Does he want to keep cruising for his defense, or will he send a bat up there?
Takes a strike. Two on and nobody out. Last to the seventh. The bunt. Fair ball. They get the force at third as Dempsey throws to Cruz.
Couldn't have had a better situation for the White Sox. Their best sacrificer up there. I think what may have happened is Dubzinski did not want to bunt it too hard because he knows Tippy Martinez fielding prowess. He tried to deaden it too much, and look what happened with Dempsey.
Herm Schneider, the White Sox trainer, walking along the bench. And now LaRussa, of course. Julio Cruz walked, stole a base, and singled today. Makes a ball. For the year, a much better hitter right-handed than left.
Martinez throws that hard curveball, as good as any left-hander in the league. That one we told you in game one, where he throws it so hard to get over on the top of it, it'll actually back up and go away from a right-hander.
Ball one pitch. 2-0. Bill Beck watching the club he used to own.
Writing a column for the Chicago Tribune.
Strike one. Law, who's 0 for 3 today but has been hot throughout the series, is the on-deck hitter. Three and one.
Similar situation earlier. LaRussa started runners off first and second. It was a strikeout and throw out. He got burned once. I doubt if he'll do it again, but let's see. crossed us up with the swinging away earlier. Trying to find out something they going or not.
Base hit. Squires will be stopped. The bases will be loaded, and
He's got him.
he went too far around second. Dybzinski.
Here he comes home.
The throw to Dempsey. The collision. He held it, and he's out.
Did they tag Dybzinski at second, or is the inning still alive? I don't think they tagged him at second base.
No, they didn't. They came home to get Vance Law. I had said Squires, but Squires was erased on the force play earlier, so Law became the lead runner. Cruz gets the base hit, and he was held up, but Dybzinski came too far around second base and messed the whole deal up.
He was held up by Jimmy Leland because of that man's arm in left field, Renicky, who also charged the ball very, very well. Dybzinski thought for sure, because all season long, Leland has been a very, very aggressive third base coach. Look at Dempsey. But the inning is still alive. It could have been bases loaded, 1 out, sacked fly time. A little different now. It's a shame the way the White Sox executed during that inning to get the men on. Tony put a trick play on, let him hit, and that may have taken him out of it.
Rudy Law takes a strike. Dybzinski hurt him twice in this inning. Weak swing, and it's strike 2. He didn't get the job done trying to sacrifice. They got the force at third, and then he overran second base and caused the out at the plate.
You saw a little bit of the fundamentals of this Oriole team right there, how they set up their cutoff man, Todd Cruz, just in the perfect spot. He's home in third.
1-2. Third base umpire Jim McKean says that Law did not go around. Dempsey wanted the plate ump Jim Evans to check. Martinez in relief of Davis.
Oh,
nobody there.
Nope, that's right. You cannot throw that anymore. One time you could throw. They changed that rule a couple of years ago. Murray decoyed. Again, the cross-up and the signals will advance the 2 runners. Murray decoys like he was coming behind. He apparently, inadvertently, they changed their signs, I believe. Murray breaks back. He thought that Tippy did not see it. So a balk is called. At one time you could do that, I believe until a couple of years ago. Now you no longer can if the first baseman is behind that runner. This is just the talk to regain Martinez's composure. Not that he needs it because he's a veteran. Altobelli wants to make sure. Maybe telling us this. We want to get the left-handed hitter Rudy Law. Fisk is sitting up there. Percentages are not with you. What this opens up, there's 2 strikes. I doubt that Law would bunt. But you never know. Try and drag a ball and score him.
And it may drop in. Renicky gets there and hung up.
Does he get a jump? He prevented that base hit from a run scoring because he got a good jump then. And once again,
in the 7th inning, 3 hits and a balk, and nobody crosses the plate. The base hit again by Cruz, and the play is going to go 7. That's Renicky, the left fielder, to 5. That's Cruz, the cutoff man, who was hit perfectly. The runner has been held up, should have been bases loaded, but Dybzinski overruns the bag, so it goes to 4, who's Dower, who doesn't bother to tag Dybzinski. With Law trying to score, he throws home to 2, Dempsey, who, despite the collision, holds the ball.
perfect cutoff situation. Ripken where he's supposed to be at third, so the third base runner couldn't make a wide turn. He throws him there. Cruz gets the ball in his bare hand, runs him back. Dowers gets the important one. You don't think that League Championship Series baseball is the most electrifying? That'll show you right there. White Sox is not cracked. They made a mistake right there. Dubzinski. This man has sat on the bench a long time.
Shelby leads off and takes a ball in the top half of the 8th. No score.
We've got a lot of excitement in the first 4 ball games, haven't we?
Hit hard, but Dubzinski is right there, and Squires takes it for the out. This telecast is presented by the authority of Major League Baseball, intended for the entertainment of our audience. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or other use of the contents of this telecast without the express written consent of Major League Baseball is prohibited. Landrum had a single to lead off the 6th, his first hit of the series. Strike 1. If the White Sox should lose this game and their season should end today, Tony La Russa will see that 7th inning over and over again this winter. 2-1.
Well, the White Sox had geared their base running because of this man all season long to be aggressive. Didn't care if he got thrown out at the base ahead of you. That's the way Dubzinski was running. He just assumed we're going to play the same kind of baseball. Coach the same way. I'm going to go on to third. But Renicky fooled him because he charged it so well.
Renicky has made 3 important plays in this game.
How about the Baines catch, huh?
Diving catch to Rob Baines. Then he charged that hit by Cruz and hit the cutoff man, just as importantly, perfectly. And then, for the last out of the inning, Rudy Law blooped one. Now, the wind may have held it up a little bit. That might have helped. But Renicky got such a quick jump that he was able to handle it rather easily when it looked at first like it had a chance to be a base hit. Ball, third strike to Tito Landrum. And it's strikeout number 7 for Britt Burns. And nobody on, Ripken bats. It takes a strike.
They're tight at the corners again. There's Murray on deck. But especially and even more important is the fact that the outfield has moved back almost as far as they can go. They're going to try and prevent the extra base hit.
0-2. There has not been a single ball hit by either team that's even come close to the warning track so far today. Up and in.
White Sox pitcher sure didn't back off after yesterday. 2 near balls. They keep coming inside.
Senior. Junior. Still 1-2. Base hits, all singles. Last night,
base hits in his first 6 hits.
2-2. Full count. We'll do it once more.
Ripken's so anxious to turn on the ball. He saw that ball inside part of the plate. May have gone after a bad pitch. One thing about Ripken, even as young as he is, he does not ever want to leave it to the man behind him. That is Murray. Who allows Ripken, by batting behind him, to get a few more fastballs, to hit a little bit better pitches. They don't want to walk him usually.
Again, the 3-2. He walked him. It's the second free pass that Ripken has drawn today.
An interesting pitch because it was a fastball, but he just wanted to throw a strike. It almost looked like a changeup. He just let up and aimed that pitch. He saw Murray in the on-deck circle.
Murray 1 for 3. He had a single in the second. He grounded out in the fourth, and he struck out in the sixth.
Outfield very, very deep. So they can cut the gap so that Ripken cannot score on a long hit.
Off-speed pitch for a strike. We're in the top half of the 8th. No score. Each team threatened in the 7th and came up empty, especially the White Sox, who did everything but score in the last half of the 7th. Now Ripken is at first with 2 gone in this frame. 1-1. Not a play. That's what it boils down to for now. Murray against Burns. Ripken the runner at first. Squires holding him on. Ripped, and it'll be in there for a base hit. Ripken is around second base, but he's going to stop there. 2 on with 2 out. Second hit of the day for Eddie Murray.
Now they start moving around in the White Sox bullpen. Very quickly, we might add. Rojas up once again.
Renicky faces Burns. They got him out the last time on a brilliantly turned 5-4-3 double play. First time they had retired him in the entire series after 5 walks, a double, and a home run.
Look out.
We'll repeat what we mentioned The man in scoring position earlier, Baines in right field, has a terrific arm. Rudy Law in center, considered weak.
Now with that runner in scoring position, they've had to move it just a little bit in the outfield so they have a chance for the runner at home plate. The base hit.
2-0 the count. Paciorek in left field, better than average.
The infield is what has to stay back now to prevent a ball from scooting through. So the outfield, just a few steps in, reaches a base hit. The infield goes deeper. Look out.
3-0. Bumbry is on deck, left-handed batter who became the designated hitter when he ran for Singleton in the 7th inning.
Out the belly has Ford, Ayala, Sakata, defensive player, on the right side.
He hit him with the 3-0 pitch.
Bumbry looking back to the dugout, and he starts walking back now. Dan Ford has a bat. He's getting a batting helmet. I just think Burns, he's trying to pitch inside, obviously. Cut that fastball in. He's been inside an awful lot to right-handed hitters. Overthrowing, trying to get a pop-up strikeout. Maybe tiring just a little bit and slow down. The ball is moving a little bit more. Arusa out. Ford stepping in the on-deck circle. Ford has not yet been announced. There's Barojas.
The inning began with Shelby grounding to short. Noel Novelli looking composed as always. Landrum struck out, but then Ripken drew a walk. Murray singled to left, and Renicky, on what would have been ball 4 anyway, was hit by a pitch.
What La Russa has got to do right now is this. If he should bring in Barojas to pitch to Ford, who's been announced but doesn't have to stay in, he's got to make a decision. Do I want my left-hander Burns to pitch to Ford, or what might be worse, Barojas comes in and they send up Lowenstein, Dwyer, or Nolan, which he has decided, even though Burns may be tiring a little bit, he likes this matchup, a tired Burns against Ford, than he does Barojas against the 3 left-handed hitters we mentioned.
So Dan Ford, who hit .280 for the regular season with 9 homers and 55 RBIs, and who was 1 for 4 before injuring himself in Game 1, he had a 9th inning double, which led to the Orioles' only run in that 2-1 loss. Ford is the pinch hitter.
They may also have talked whether or not Burns should pitch from the stretch or windup. I think he might go to the windup, try and get a little extra stuff, and not shorten his delivery.
The Orioles had a rash of Grand Slam home runs in the season's last month, many of them crucial in their pennant drive. Ford swings on the first one and pops it foul. Out of play. You would practically have to have a bazooka to drive one out of here today. The hitters are fighting.
Right on the inside edge.
Rick Burns making the most important pitches of his life right here. He popped it up. It's Julio Cruz. They're out of it. For the Orioles in the 8th, no runs, a hit, a walk, a hit batter, and the bases are left loaded. And we're back live at Comiskey Park. These fans here are sitting in on what could develop into a classic. It's got the makings of it right now. Scoreless game as we go to the last half of the 8th. Martinez in relief of Storm Davis, dueling now with Britt Burns, and each had to get out of extremely sticky situations in their last innings of work.
White Sox have the 4-men up, but you want to run up late in the ball game as Altobelli looks at Tippy Martinez. Fisk, Baines, Lazinski, and Pachork.
Quick reminder, Sports World with that middleweight fight follows the ball game. The Dodgers-Phillies game at 8 Eastern time tonight. This takes a strike. One and one. He smacks it solidly with Shelby going away back, and he hauls it down in front of the wall. That ball was crushed.
Not high enough hit for the wind to have any effect. Tippy Martinez got away with a bad pitch to a hitter who was looking away and driving the ball away, and this man just made a fine running catch. John Shelby. Tougher in the away ballpark because he's not sure of the length of the warning track. That is a nice play. It gets better and better as it goes along.
Good outfield defense. First by Renicky, now by Shelby, has helped the Orioles today.
He's at 7 balls on the nose. Baines finally came up with a hit in the 6th.
2-0.
With Charlie Lau's help, he's become a much better hitter against left-handed pitchers. He struggled last year.
Out in front, 2-1.
For Baines, even against a left-handed pitcher, swung way around the pull. It's a situation where he'll go the other way. He's behind in the count against the left-hander.
Tap foul, 2-2.
Not afraid to throw that curveball. He can throw it over for strikes most of the time.
Despite missing a long stretch with the appendectomy, Martinez saved 21 this year. So Baines is at first with 1 out for Lazinski. Who's 0 for 3 today, fouled to the catcher twice and struck out. And he's just 2 for 13 in the series. Popped up, Murray going over. It's out of play.
Lozinski looked like he tried to punch the ball in right field. Tried to stay on a double play. Hit in the hole.
Landrum in right field has him played all the way over in right center. There's miles of room between Landrum and the line.
Yeah, look at how deep he's playing. Against the extra base hit. Baines could score. He's got good speed.
Strike two. He broke the bat in half. It goes flying all the way into the crowd.
Nobody's been pitched as well as Bull in this series. He's been behind the count consistently. Made the perfect pitch. Run something away. Jam him like that. Second time we've seen that happen where they sawed the bat off in his hands.
From the looks of things, nobody was hurt by the flying lumber up there. Went about 25 rows back. Another 0-2 pitch coming from Martinez to Lozinski. Ball, strike three. The Bull is 2 for 14.
In a short series, those streaks occur when two good pitching teams match up. He's not in a slump, folks, in this series. They've been making perfect pitches on him. Jammed him inside. He went away with a breaking ball right on the outside corner.
Pachorik now is the batter. Baines at first with 2 out. Last half of the 8th. High ball 1. Margin of error for this man and his team. Down 2 games to 1. Same pitch. Taken high again, 2-0.
Martinez knows that Squires, the left-handed hitter, is on deck. Even though first base is occupied, 2 outs, he's gone 2-0. He's pitching very carefully.
3-0 now. Pachorik checks with Leland. See if he's got the green light.
And he does. The Squire's on deck. The right side, Lou says, we don't think Kittle. He's questionable. Stegman, Rodriguez, Hill, and Fletcher. Harrison, a switch hitter. Better from the left side, though, I think.
3-1 pitch coming. 3-2.
Pull the string on a 3-1 pitch. Would not give him a fastball. Threw a changeup. You know how much they respect Pachorik in this situation. Now Murray will play behind at first base, giving Baines a little bit of an extra jump. Murray can get cute down at first base. He's backing way off.
Ripken, his play must be to first, and there it is. So for the White Sox in the last half of the 8th, no runs, no hits. A walk. This man Baines got it, but he's left on. We're going to the 9th, scoreless. Okay, thanks, Marv, and the pilot, Patrick Henry, up above. So far through 8 at Comiskey Park. You have to look back on that 7th inning for the White Sox when they had 3 hits and a balk by Martinez mixed in and failed to score.
Got to look back on 2 innings that the Orioles had also. First and second, nobody out in the second. Burns pitched out of it. Happened again later in the ball game in the 6th. First and second, nobody out. So La Russa sends Burns out again. got to be a little bit tired, but La Russa does not want to see those left-handed hitters off Altobelli's bench.
Dower. Ball one. Dower was without a hit in the series, but he did sacrifice successfully his last time up in the 7th. 1-1. Third baseman Todd Cruz on deck. Balls and a strike.
Dave Duncan and LaRouche are doing. They're not going by numbers of pitches. They're going by feel. And they're asking this man what he thinks. And I'm sure Burns has said, keep sending me out there.
He falls behind Dower, 3-1, leading off the 9th. Duncan again with his charts.
He is now nodding over to LaRouche, I think. I mean, we won't see any action yet. 133 pitches he's thrown right now.
He swings on the 3-1 and lofts a pop-up. Cruz calling for it and chasing after it to make the basket catch. That wind is just blowing, especially those balls, those high pops, all over the place.
Squires has a great glove, and he takes a lot of those in his territory. He didn't think this was going to get this close. And Cruz just keeps trailing. You can even see in a play like that, in a play like that, the intensity of a player going after what usually is a routine pop-up. There's the wind factor. Straight in from left field.
Todd Cruz struck out each of his last 2 appearances. He's also grounded out. One pitch. 1-1.
Dave Duncan, the pitching coach, is as much into this ball game as is Britt Burns. There he is. He may be feeling more pressure than Burns is. Burns in constant motion. He's going to bunt. He got the right pitch, an off-speed pitch. Law had it sensed, though. He was up.
As we've seen earlier in the series, Cruz is a good bunter.
Hope you'll stay tuned for Sports World. And another good ball game from Philadelphia tonight. Dodgers, Philadelphia. Vin Scully, Joe Garagiola. Dodgers down by 1.
This will be a 2-1 pitch from Burns to Cruz. Foul back right toward our booth. 2-2. Up the middle, Dybzinski to his left. Got him.
We said it before during our regular Saturday telecast. He has as much range to his left as any shortstop in the American League. There's a tendency to lean that way at times. Can't recover. He was hopping and leaning to the right. Breaking ball that he thought would be inside, that the hitter would pull, and he recovered and went back up the middle. Not flashy, but he's very, very steady.
Dempsey 1 for 3. Had a single back in the 5th. Top of the 9th, 2 outs, nobody aboard, no score. Strike 1. Britt Burns, 10-11 for the year, ERA 3.58, but strong in September, 2.17. The earned run mark for the season's last month, and he threw 2 shutouts.
The Orioles don't score. It's going to be an interesting 9th inning because LaRussa will have to make more decisions. Does he let Squires hit, keep the defensive Law, Dybzinski, or does he go to his bench? Doesn't have as much power off his bench as Joe Altobelli does. He can beat you with one swing.
Burns has thrown 141 pitches. La Russa knows that. Vance Law. The White Sox will have a chance to win it now in the last half of the ninth. Portion of the order, but it was this part of the order that started the rally in the seventh that probably should have produced a run.
This is Walker
in the bullpen.
Walker, who started though in the seventh, and then Squires replaced him as a pinch runner.
And it's Squires who bats now to lead off the last half of the ninth. A .222 batsman in the regular season with one homer. Well, there you see it.
We talked about the intimidation possibility or the threat of the steal. The White Sox have been intimidated because they don't want to get a right-hander in there. Those left-handed hitters off the Oriole bench. So apparently, Whit Burns is going to go out again. Still nobody warming up if the White Sox don't score. And we should go to defense. How about this?
Is it a fair ball? No. So the count 0-2.
Tony La Russa needs some runs soon. And he is maybe sacrificing offense right here, leading off Squires. Not that he's a bad hitter. He's had an off year. He's played mostly defense. Sacrificing the possibility of offense right here. But he's going to hang Burns out there. He's got to be a little tired.
The 0-2 to Squires. Missed 1-2. For Baltimore, 7-0 for Chicago.
What we may be looking at is the fact that we may be seeing more and more, pretty verifiable, Kittle cannot hit.
Martinez throws him out. Well, we saw Kittle being helped from the field after the introductions.
That was a spot for him right there.
Vance Law had a hit-and-run single his last time up. He's 1 for 3 for the day. And he's 2 for 10 for the series. Ball one high.
No score in the ball game. It is now at 3 hours in length. There's a lot of thinking going on. It has been an outstanding ball game. White Sox have not cracked. We don't expect the Orioles to, with their experience.
If there's a fifth game, it's Hoyt against McGregor. McGregor knows he's going to pitch again this year. Either tomorrow night or the first game of the World Series. Hoyt can only hope for another chance. It's a called strike, 1-2.
You know, there were some who thought that off White's first game performance that La Russa should have skipped over Britt Burns. It was written by some people around the country.
Have to bring him back on 2 days rest. Got a fifth game left. Vance Law gets into one. Shelby has to go back on this. Battling the wind, he's got it on the track. Shelby turned in an outstanding play on a drive by Fisk back in the 8th. This one wasn't quite as difficult, but Law hit it about as well as he can. Here's Dibzinski. Tap foul for strike one.
Lauren Babe, the man standing right beside La Russa, occasionally whispering pointers in his ear. He's the man that recommended La Russa to Bill Veeck for the managerial job. Every once in a while, you see Tony La Russa walk over to him when there's a questionable strategy decision. He gets his input, as he does with Duncan, the pitchers, Lau with the hitters.
there is a 10th inning, Baltimore will have the top of their order. And Burns will be approaching 150 pitches. 1-1. Drop. A 2-out hit for Dubzinski. Julio Cruz has walked, stolen a base, and singled twice. Unfortunately, his last hit wound up in an out because of the base running mistake.
You cannot take Dubzinski at first base altogether for granted because he will sneak off the bait. Murray knows what the scouting reports told him. He stole 11 bases during the regular season.
Not going. Hit to right field. Landrum will not get there in time. Dubzinski is around second. Landrum's throw is cut off. First and third, 2 out. Hits for Julio Cruz.
Well, you've got a situation again as Cruz is being talked to by Nelson. Dubzinski goes first and third. Well, you've got a left-handed bat, Rudy Law, up now. Again, they miss Kittle. It's interesting. The White Sox have a play. They try. The runner on first base delays. He doesn't steal outright. He waits till the ball is released, till the catcher, all the infielders are watching. They are going to give second base to Julio Cruz. Look at where Murray is. The Orioles, I'm sure, have been made aware of the play. What is Davey Nelson taking it? If they give it to you, take it. Watch for Law, who might try and drop a bunt, beat it out, score the run. A lot of possibilities, a lot of intrigue.
Law was 7 for 13 coming in. 0 for 4 today. Cruz goes. Law checks his swing, and it's foul. The outfield is very shallow for Rudy Law. Singles by Dubzinski and Cruz with 2 out have put runners at first and third in a scoreless game last half of the ninth. The Orioles lead the series 2 games to 1.
I'm sure Dempsey's already been alerted not to throw through. Jimmy Martinez, I'm going to pitch him a stretch and a windup. Stretch. They're giving Cruz the base again.
He goes, they don't throw, they look at Dubzinski. He hasn't wandered too far off. Second and third.
They may not even give him a stolen base on that. No attempt was made. They call it indifference in the book.
This is a 1-1 pitch now. Made him look bad, 1-2.
La Russa. Hill cannot hit, obviously. Could have sent up Stegman, Rodriguez, Hill, or Fletcher, or Hairston, the switch hitter. He's staying with his defensive team. Although Stegman is a good defensive outfielder.
Holds at 1-2.
Tell you, Dempsey, if he calls that snapping curveball from Martinez and he overthrows it, Dempsey's going to have to block anything, obviously. He's done so well this entire ball game, but that's one way a team can get beat with a guy like Timmy Martinez and that curveball. He wants one with bigger seams, higher seams.
Nippy Martinez with an earned run average of just about a run and a half a game from the All-Star break on. That's the only guy that matters. Dibzinski at third. Cruz is at second.
White Sox have stranded 8. They've got 2 more out there. They only need 1.
Called strike 3. We're going to extra innings at Comiskey Park. In the last half of the ninth, no runs, 2 hits, and 2 are left. Top of the order is due for Baltimore. Shelby, Landrum, and Ripken to face Burns, and no matter what happens, what a remarkable performance by 24-year-old Britt Burns today.
He has faced 36 batters. Twice in this ball game. First 2 runners have gotten on, and he's pitched out of it.
Shelby started the game. There are the figures. The old cliche says there's no tomorrow, you've got all winter to rest, but after a point, that doesn't pertain because you have nothing left to give. Shelby started the game with an infield single. Since then, he's gone 0 for 3.
First time that sun pops out very brightly, maybe only temporarily, but it could get rough on hitters right here. It was nice to stay game. The sun was behind those clouds. Now it goes back behind them.
2-0. For what it's worth, that's probably not much. The White Sox were 8-3 in extra innings. The Orioles were 9-7 this year.
Tony La Russa's got to be torn. I'm sure Britt Burns over the last couple of innings has talked him into leaving him stay, but the bullpen has started now. Just soft tossing. This has been a very, very well managed League Championship Series.
Two and 2 to Shelby.
He could take it the other way and say La Russa's left himself open to second guessing, but he knows how he got here, and he's keeping Burns out there and the players that got him here.
Foul back. Burns has given La Russa 9 shutout innings, and more than that this afternoon. He's given him his heart.
Was so intent on getting the #1 hitter, he broke off a curveball that we haven't seen for more than a few innings. He's been fastball, occasional forkball. Watch him jump. That's the big hitter he wanted, the leadoff hitter. 4 times they've gotten on base off him, the leadoff hitter in this ball game.
That's the 8th strikeout for Burns. So important for him to retire Shelby and Landrum. That way he wouldn't have to face Ripken and or Murray with anybody on base.
This may be his last hitter, even though he's pitched so well. Landrum, not the deep threat, but when you get to Ripken, Murray, Renicky after that, and let's see what La Russa decides.
This ball is blasted by Tito Landrum.
What did I say?
It is gone.
How about that?
Tito Landrum begins the year at Louisville in the Cardinal chain, and he's on cloud 9 right now with birds of a different feather, the Baltimore Orioles.
He had 1 home run and 41 at-bats during the regular season, and he threw a jolt, and out comes La Russa. I wonder if Tony wasn't thinking the same thing we were.
It's a reasonable thought.
Yeah, let Landrum stay in there, and then when Ripken, Murray, Renicky come up, he had for Rojas, I believe, ready. Landrum knows it. a great effort by that guy, that young man. Cliff Burns, still not over with. The White Sox have had trouble scoring runs.
A standing ovation, and he has earned every bit of this applause. Hold your head high, young man. You did yourself proud today. Tito Landrum has put the Orioles within half an inning of the World Series. As the pitching change is made, we'll return after this. Right in the wheelhouse for Tito Landrum. And did he ever know what to do with it? Even against the wind, it made the upper deck. Burns' dejection.
Bob, in 11 years in the minor leagues, back and forth with St. Louis a few of those years. His high was this year of 18 home runs. He had 12 one other year at 11, but most of the times he had 2 home runs, 4, 2, none, 3, 1.
Ripken is the first man to face Barojas. In the last half of the 10th, it'll be Fisk, Baines, and Luzinski. So the White Sox won't be cheated in that regard.
You would have thought that if anybody's going to hit one out into the wind, it would have been one of the big guys like Ripken or Murray, Singleton, Luzinski, Fisk, Shorrock, Renicky, Tito Landrum.
And even with the conditions today, from the instant it hit the bat, everyone knew it was gone.
We will never know how much not having Ron Kittle has meant to this. I won't say loss yet. You've got some good hitters coming up.
Through Barojas' legs and into center field for a Ripken base hit.
Well, now we come right back with Tippy Martinez. The 4-hitter schedule, just Baines hits from the left side, and Martinez has been out there a while.
Murray now turns around and bats left-handed. He was 2 for 4 against Burns, a pair of singles. As I recall it, Landrum's home run, the first extra base hit of the game. Tito Landrum, who got his chance in 2 ways. One, because the Cardinals, having no place for them on their roster, dealt him to Baltimore in what was viewed as a minor deal during the season. This is a base hit for Murray. Ripken rounds second, but stops there, respecting the arm of Baines. Perfect throw in. Third hit for Eddie Murray.
Very interesting. We talked about the ability of Murray to set pitchers up. Don't recall a ball game when the Orioles had the lead. Same situation, one on first base, but they had the big lead. And against Dennis Lamb, he changed his stance. It looked like he was trying to punch the ball in the left field. I thought he was hurt and even said it. Now, he turns it over. Not sure if that's intentional and tries to pull the ball and take advantage of the hole between Cruz and Squires. Musa will think a lot about this ball game. Lamp, the right-hander. Juan Augusto, the left-hander.
Tony, you mentioned Ron Kittle, who's hit on the knee by a Mike Flanagan pitch last night. He thought at first he'd be able to play, but it became very swollen overnight, and he came out to a thunderous round of applause during the pregame introductions. But you can see he's hobbling. They had to help him off.
I can think of at least 3 situations had he been available. Of course, if he had been available, he might have started. We don't know what Tony's plans would have been with a healthy Kittle. But if he had been available, even if he hadn't started, at least a pinch hitter, we would have seen his bat. So perhaps one player makes the difference in this league championship series.
Renicky now walked twice, but hit by a pitch and grounded into a double play. That's a ball. When Tito Landrum was swapped from the Cardinal organization to Baltimore, For third baseman Floyd Rayford, it made the agate type in the newspapers. And even in this league championship series, Landrum gets his chance to start only because Ford was hurt. And Landrum, if Martinez can get the job done in the last half of the 10th, stands to be a Baltimore hero. This one may add to the margin. It dunks in there. Ripken is being waved home. It's 2-0 Baltimore, and Murray chugs into third. Successive singles by Ripken, Murray, and Renicky off for Rojas after the Landrum home run.
And we'll probably see a move by La Russa now, but the man stepping in right now, who will be shortly announced as a pinch hitter, is one of the men, or the little pawns in Altobelli's game, that kept La Russa from removing Britt Burns a little bit earlier. He did not want a right-handed matchup against Lowenstein, Dwyer, or Nolan. Now he'll probably move Rojas, who scheduled to face the left-handed hitter Lowenstein. We could see maybe Ayala, but I don't know.
So Barojas was ineffective. Augusto is coming in. The Baltimore lead is now 2-0 as they continue to bat in the 10th. With Augusto warming up, the chess game continues. Lowenstein announced and then yanked by Altobelli, and Ayala will bat for him.
Sinker ball slider. Born in Puerto Rico. Must have been a comfortable feeling for Altobelli, and sometimes in a short series, the bullpen and the bench don't mean anything. But the comfort of Altobelli sitting there and just waiting. He could insert the left-handed sluggers or make this move again, trying to get more runs tacked on. A little deeper in the bench, and the sure stopper in the bullpen. La Russa lost Kittle. Will be talked about a long, long time as the Orioles appear at this time to be heading for a World Series matchup. But it's not good on the White Sox yet.
Murray at third, Renicky at first. Ayala takes ball one.
Interesting, the infield is playing back for double play. Can't afford to give any more runs. Now left side, Dubzinski playing halfway. Ayala looking for the sacrifice fly. I put my infield in.
Quick throw, almost got it.
There's a little dribbler in the infield. They can't turn a double play at short and second. And with Murray, he'll be going. If the contact play will be out. He's a good base runner. We showed it to you yesterday. Little chopper, he'll be on the move. Then try and get in a rundown if they go home.
This ball is hit solidly. It will at least get in a run. Rudy Law stumbles, makes the catch.
Back at the first, too.
Yeah, Renicky tags and goes to second, and Murray scores. It's 3-0 Baltimore.
Call them role players, situation players, you name it. Altobelli's got more. He's shown it this inning. La Russa had some opportunities as we watch the sacrifice fly again as the wind holds it back. Some opportunities to pinch hit, but he didn't have a string enough with good enough hitters to do it.
He's got the right-hander Lamp out there with a right-handed batter, Dower, coming up. And he takes the ball from Augusto. Lamp will come in, but plenty of damage has already been done. We'll return in a minute. Lamp led the White Sox in the regular season with 15 saves. 14 of those came after the All-Star break. Look back to the White Sox 7th inning. It opened with Walker singling. On a hit and run, Vance Law also singled. The pinch runner Squire stopped at second. The count went to 3-0 on Jerry Dubzinski, so they were a pitch away from having the bases loaded with nobody out. Dybzinski wound up after taking a strike, bunting, but Dempsey pounced on it and got the force at third. Julio Cruz then singled to left. Law, who had become the lead runner, was held up at third by Jimmy Leland, the third base coach, but Dybzinski rounded second too far, and on a play that went 7-5 to 4 to 2, eventually Law broke for the plate as they ran Dybzinski down. They threw Law out. Tippy Martinez followed with a balk as the runners advanced, and still they failed to score in the inning, which ended in tantalizing fashion as Rudy Law blooped one into short left field, but Renicky broke fast and made a running catch.
What has happened to La Russa is didn't have enough horses to make the moves he probably wanted to. Aside from that, Bob, Orioles pitching, it's in the fourth game, not over yet, have allowed that man's team just 2 earned runs. 3 runs all told, but just 2 to show you what even McGregor did. Boddicker, Flanagan.
Dower threw his bat at it.
Tippy Martinez, Sammy Stewart. Storm Davis today.
Still 0-2 as Cal Ripken Sr. returns the lumber. He looks like a baseball man.
He and Ray Miller, they were right in the running to get this managerial job, and Hank Peters, the president general manager, decided to go outside the organization so he wouldn't slide either Ripken or Miller. So he really, in fact he did, was brought Altobelli back. Been a minor league manager for a long time in this organization.
A ball and 2 strikes to Dower. With 1 out in this 10th inning, Tito Landrum crushed the 150th pitch thrown on the day by Britt Burns into the second deck in left field for a home run. This one is hit to Dybzinski, makes a nice backhand play, throws him out. After the homer by Landrum, consecutive singles by Ripken, Murray, and Renicky, and then a sacrifice fly by pinch hitter Ayala produced 2 more runs, and it's 3-0, bottom of the 10th. What an exhilarating moment for 28-year-old Tito Landrum. It's taken him an awfully long time bouncing around the minors to get here.
What Landrum has done in 11 seasons, jumping back and forth minor leagues and major leagues, he's had a total of 76 home runs. That was his 3rd major league home run. One addition to that roster, huh? A late addition.
This leads off against Martinez. The White Sox need 3 runs to tie, but to put it in perspective, they've scored 3 runs in 36 innings in this series.
Yep. 2 earned. Fisk may be known to either work a walk right now, take a strike, or drop a bunt down. Cruz at third, aware of it. Start something off.
The record for fewest runs in a 4-game league championship series is the 7th that Baltimore scored in the course of losing to Oakland in 1974. The record for fewest runs in any LCS is 3 by Pittsburgh in 1970 against Cincinnati's Big Red Machine, but that was a 3-game sweep. This is a 4-game series.
I'm certain somebody will come up with a line because of this league championship series and call this team the Hitless Wonders once again in 1 year to go. Folks, that will be false information. There's just been pretty great pitching right on through for the Orioles. Their trademark. Pitching and defense.
This gets it well.
Wynn's going to hold it in.
Renicky. He's got it. That's the second ball that Fisk has hit extremely well in his last 2 times up, each carried to the track.
It was McGregor in Game 1 who pitched well, even though they lost. Boddicker, a pivotal ball game, tying the league championship record with 14 strikeouts. Flanagan pitched well until he may have injured his leg, and Storm Davis today. And this man on the mound, with the top relievers in the American League, Tippy Martinez, about trying to finish it off. We've got somebody going in the Orioles bullpen in Case.
Strike 1 to Baines. The litany legacy of Orioles success apparently will continue. They'll be in the World Series for the 6th time since 1966. And they made their first appearance and swept the Los Angeles Dodgers.
And I did not think the White Sox crowd could get this quiet in the bottom half of an inning. Lamar Hoyt, who was so brilliant in that game 1. Scott Fletcher.
Dibzinski trying to talk it up, get something going. Base hit for Baines. He's hit the ball hard in every at-bat, both last night and today.
Altobelli has a right-hander. He should be ready. Tippy Martinez came in and faced Law. That was his first hitter back in the 7th inning. Stoddard, who was all but released by the White Sox, should be loose if he wants him.
Luzinski 0 for 4, 2 strikeouts, 2 pop-outs. Strike 1.
They're giving Baines second base if he wants it, and he should take it to stay out of a double play. He's not. Not guarding the line. Luzinski not the important one. 2 men get on and another hitter comes up, then they'll go back to guarding the line.
He struck him out on 3 pitches, and the Bull never took the bat off his shoulder. The 3rd time he's fanned today.
Well, we said it his last time up. They have not thrown a pitch to the Bull in this series that has come anywhere close to the middle of the plate.
If the score holds up, our Miller High Life player of the game will be Tito Landrum. And Miller High Life will be happy to present a check for $1,000 in the name of Tito Landrum to the Special Olympics. Pachorik is the last hope. The White Sox won game 1 behind Hoyt. Boddicker got it even on Thursday night. Murray's homer set the tone last night. The Birds romped 11-1. Burns dueled first with Davis, later with Martinez into the 10th today. Landrum's homer snapped it. Put them in front 1-0. They added 2 more. Lead now 3-0. 1 strike away from the pennant on the Baltimore Orioles. 1-2 to Tom Pachorik. Baines is at first base with 2 outs.
We have not seen what you would consider a big inning in any of these 4 ball games. 4 runs scored, the tops in 1 inning, and a lot of zeros.
He swung and missed. Dempsey picks it up. Collision. The Baltimore Orioles have won the 1983 American League pennant. Of the fans at Comiskey Park are standing to cheer, both in appreciation and respect for the Baltimore Orioles, and also to thank their own club, the Chicago White Sox, for the thrills they provided this year. They won 99 games, and they have a young club that'll be back for more, but it's the Baltimore Orioles who are heading for the World Series. They'll have Scott McGregor ready for Game 1, and the series opens in the American League town this year, so Oriole fans who didn't get to see them win it at home will be able to greet them in the Fall Classic. This League Championship Series game has been brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? Buy light beer from Miller. Everything you've always wanted in a beer and less. by NCR Corporation, shaping the way business does business. And by McDonald's, sponsors of amateur sports from the neighborhood to the Olympics. We'll be back in the Orioles locker room right after these messages from your local station.